we're going to do 10,000 ounces this year. We keep talking about it, but we actually have to just do it.
The moment the machine shuts down, all eyes turn to Parker. No one asks questions, but every face is full of them. The body language says everything. Everyone wants to know what happens next. Parker has faced pressure like this before, but this time it's different. The stakes are much higher. This isn't just about fixing a machine, it's about trust. A few crew members quietly voice their concerns. One mentions that the alignment looks risky. Another worries about fuel burn. The tone stays respectful, but the tension is impossible to miss. Parker doesn't interrupt. He listens. That's always been his approach. Listen first, speak second. He stays calm. No anger, no panic. He focuses on the facts. What exactly is wrong? How long would a fix take? What are the risks of restarting? That clarity cuts through the chaos, and it's why the crew trusts him. After hearing everyone out, Parker makes his call. A controlled restart with a quick fix. No yelling, no drama, just clear instructions delivered in a steady voice. The crew understands that even under intense pressure, Parker remains in control. This is where leadership shows itself. The machine comes back online, and regardless of what happens next, the crew knows they aren't facing it alone. When the machine first stopped, the atmosphere on site felt like an exam hall. Engineers and senior crew rushed to inspect parts. Alignment tools were pulled out, but everyone knew there wasn't time to test the entire system from scratch. The weather window was tight, the ground was ready, and every lost hour meant lost money. There was no perfect choice. A quick fix meant isolating the problem, making small adjustments, and restarting. A full test would take hours, possibly an entire day. Parker had two options: play it safe and lose valuable time, or take a calculated risk and move forward. Fear was written all over the crew's faces. If the fix failed, it could damage more than just the machine. It could derail the entire season. Parker told everyone to stay calm and asked simple, direct questions. Was the issue critical or manageable? Were any parts in immediate danger? The answers weren't unanimous, but most agreed a controlled restart was possible. Parker knew it was a gamble. But in mining, every big payoff comes with risk. He approved the fix. No full testing, just the essential checks. When the machine restarted, the tension was heavy. It could have gone either way. That uncertainty is what makes mining so brutal. After a few hours of running, it was time for the first gold cleanup. The gold room fell silent. Cleanup never lies. No excuses, no explanations, just numbers. Parker was there, reading the room. Some faces showed excitement. Others looked nervous. When the gold was weighed, the results came in slightly below expectations, but not catastrophic. The reaction was mixed. It wasn't a win, but it wasn't a failure either. Some crew members felt relief. Others felt uneasy. No one knew whether to celebrate or worry. The quick fix got the machine running, but the recovery numbers raised new questions. Was the alignment still off? Was the machine underperforming? Or was the ground itself the real problem? No one had clear answers. Parker studied the numbers quietly. He knew the first cleanup wasn't the final verdict, but expectations were already sky high. The crew understood one thing clearly. Season 16 was going to be a grind, and every cleanup would be a pressure test. Now the bigger question loomed: jackpot or loss? If the machine stabilizes, recovery stays near 90%, and downtime remains manageable, Season 16 could explode into a $60 to $80 million run. These weren't fantasy numbers. They were based on real ground data and processing capacity. If the machine runs consistently, daily yardage could nearly double. More dirt means more gold and potentially massive profits by season's end. For Parker, this wouldn't just be about money. It would prove that he took the right risk at the right moment. But every projection has a dark side. If the machine proves unreliable, breakdowns increase, or recovery rates fall short, those same numbers could turn against him. A $2.5 million machine, higher fuel burn, and constant maintenance could quickly push the season into the red. In the worst case, losses could reach millions. As season 16 begins, Parker Schnabel makes a move that shakes the entire gold rush world. In the harsh Yukon terrain, under relentless pressure and unforgiving deadlines, he brings in a machine that even his own crew can't believe. This isn't a routine upgrade, it's a power shift. At Parker's level, one bad decision can destroy a season, while one smart move can change everything. The price alone shocks people. A $2.5 million investment, roughly 30% higher fuel consumption, but nearly double the processing capacity. It's double the risk and double the reward. Parker knows the competition this season will be fierce. The ground is tougher, the gold is deeper, and recovery rates will decide the real winner. Season 16 is no longer just about mining gold. It's about whether bold decisions pay off or break everything. That's why Parker isn't playing it safe. He's going all in. But the suspense doesn't stop there. The moment the machine arrives on site, problems begin to surface. Calibration issues, belt alignment problems, and even a moment when the entire operation freezes for several minutes. You can see the tension in the crew's eyes, and the silence on Parker's face says more than words ever could. If this machine fails, it won't just cost money. Parker's reputation is on the line. But if it works, the payoff is staggering. An estimated season potential of $60 to $80 million. This is the point where season 16 could be defined. Everything hangs in the balance. What happens next doesn't just affect gold totals. It could change the entire game. The pressure on Parker is relentless. In season 16, he isn't just mining gold, he's putting his credibility on the line. Over the years, he's earned a reputation as a smart and aggressive miner, but that reputation brings its own weight. People expect Parker to hit big every single season, no matter how difficult the ground is. This year, the challenge is even greater. The ground is tougher, the competition is stronger, and the margin for error is thinner than ever. The biggest mental strain comes from responsibility. Dozens of people rely on him. Their paychecks, their futures, and sometimes even their families depend on the success of this season. If things go wrong, it won't just hurt Parker, it will impact the entire crew. That's why he analyzes every decision carefully, even when it means stepping into risk. The financial pressure is just as intense. Parker has already poured millions into season 16. Fuel, transportation, equipment, permits, everything costs more now. Fuel prices alone have jumped by roughly 25 to 30% compared to past seasons, and the daily burn rate runs into thousands of dollars. One bad week could throw the entire budget off track. Then there's the pressure of reputation. If Parker plays it safe, critics will say he's slowing down. If he takes risks and fails, they'll call him reckless. Walking that line is exhausting, and it's what makes season 16 emotionally heavy. There was also a clear reason the old machine had to go. Parker's previous wash plant had served him well for years, but by the time season 16 rolled around, it was outdated. Its biggest flaw was speed. The new ground moved fast and was heavy, but the old plant simply couldn't process enough material to meet the season's targets. Gold loss was another major issue. Experts estimated the recovery rate of the old wash plant at around 80 to 82%. That meant out of every 100 ounces of gold mined, 18 to 20 ounces were being lost. On days averaging 300 ounces, that translated to 50 to 60 ounces wasted daily, millions of dollars disappearing over the season. Downtime made things even worse. The old machine required constant maintenance, belt slips, clogged screens, uneven water flow. Every breakdown meant shutting down for 2 to 3 hours. In mining, time is everything. Gold stays in the ground, but the weather doesn't wait. Processing limitations were another problem. The old wash plant could only handle certain material sizes efficiently. When clay-heavy or boulder-rich ground appeared, performance dropped sharply. And in season 16, Parker's ground was some of the toughest he'd ever worked. He knew that sticking with the old setup would make even an average season hard to achieve. Forget about a jackpot. That machine had brought him success in the past, but now it had become his biggest obstacle. One night marked the turning point. It wasn't just another meeting. It was a defining moment. The crew was exhausted after a long day, the site quiet, except for the hum of generators in the cold air. Parker gathered everyone together. His voice was calm, his expression serious. Everyone could tell this wasn't a routine conversation. Doubt filled the room. Some worried the budget was already stretched thin. Others felt a mid-season upgrade was too risky. A few exchanged nervous looks, silently wondering what would happen if it all went wrong. Parker listened without interrupting. He understood their fear, because he felt it too. After a long pause, Parker spoke. He explained that playing it safe would only lead to an average season. A jackpot would require risk. He admitted the decision scared him, but what scared him more was falling behind. In that moment, Parker wasn't a boss. He was just a person carrying the weight of the future. Then he made his decision. No dramatic speech, just one calm sentence. We do this now, or we regret it later. The room went silent. Everyone knew the decision was final. From that night on, the course of season 16 was set. A few days later, the new machine arrived, and everything changed. As it rolled off the trailer, the crew stopped what they were doing. The sheer size of it made one thing clear. This wasn't a small upgrade. The height, the width, the thick steel body, it looked overbuilt in every way. It didn't just sit on the ground, it seemed to challenge it. When the machine fired up, the sound was different, deeper, heavier, more powerful. Unlike the thin metallic noise of the old wash plant, this rumble carried confidence. The crew's faces showed both excitement and fear. Managing this kind of power wouldn't be easy, but power came with control. Faster trommel rotation, a wider sluice system, and stronger water flow were all designed to move more material and capture more gold. Experts estimated the processing capacity would nearly double. Same crew, same time, but a much higher output. This wasn't just an upgrade, it was a complete shift in how Parker was playing the game. This was Parker's way of saying he wasn't going to think small. This machine wasn't just about pulling gold from the ground. It was meant to change the entire balance of season 16. If it worked, Parker could become unstoppable. But if it failed, the damage wouldn't just be financial, it could cost him the whole season. At first glance, the new machine looks like nothing more than steel and iron. In reality, it's the most expensive decision Parker Schnabel has ever made. The purchase price alone sits at around $2.5 million. And that's only the beginning. Transport, installation, permits, and calibration add significantly to the total cost. This single upgrade consumes the largest share of Parker's budget for season 16. Fuel is the biggest ongoing risk. Unlike the old wash plant, which burned a steady and predictable amount of fuel, this new machine uses roughly 30% more. That means thousands of dollars in diesel are burned every single day. If weather shuts down operations or digging pauses, fuel costs continue regardless of whether gold is being produced. Maintenance is just as costly. Larger belts, heavier motors, and advanced components mean that even small issues can turn into expensive repairs. A major breakdown could easily cost anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000, on top of lost production time. In mining, when the machine stops, the gold stops too, but the expenses never do. This is where the daily battle between risk and reward begins. If the machine performs well, Parker could pull in $250,000 to $400,000 worth of gold in a single day. But if recovery drops or breakdowns hit, that same day could result in a loss of more than $100,000. Every day becomes a calculated gamble. So why take such a risk? The answer lies in technology. The biggest upgrade is the improved sluice system. This is where the gold is captured while waste material washes away. The new machine has a wider and deeper sluice, which greatly reduces the chances of heavy gold slipping through unnoticed. Another major improvement is the trommel, the rotating drum that sorts material. The old machine's trommel turned slowly, limiting how much material could be processed. The new trommel rotates faster but remains tightly controlled, allowing more dirt to move through without losing gold. Water flow has also been redesigned. In the past, uneven water pressure caused inconsistent recovery. Now, water is evenly distributed, giving gold particles more time to settle and be captured. Experts estimate these changes have boosted recovery rates from around 80% to as high as 90 to 92%. In simple terms, Parker used to process 10 buckets of dirt and recover gold from 8 of them. Now, he's recovering gold from 9 or more out of every 10. That difference may sound small, but over an entire season, it can mean millions of dollars. This isn't just a machine. It's Parker's attempt to balance time, ground, and gold. He knows technology isn't perfect, but he also knows that the winner of Season 16 will be the one who captures every possible grain. When the machine was finally ready to run, the mood among the crew was mixed. Some wore faint smiles, while others showed clear signs of fear. Body language said everything. A few crew members stood close, studying the machine's details. Others kept their distance, mentally bracing themselves. Everyone understood this moment carried both opportunity and danger. Conversations were quiet. Thoughts were heavy. No one said it out loud, but the same question hung in the air. What if it fails? The machine was powerful, expensive, and unforgiving. One wrong setting or a small mistake could shut everything down. The silence only made the tension worse. Some experienced miners worried about managing such immense power. They were comfortable with the old setup and knew exactly how it behaved. This new machine was still an unknown. There was excitement, because if it worked, the gold totals could be incredible. But beneath that excitement was fear, the fear of failure. Parker noticed it all, but he said nothing. He knew that words wouldn't matter now. Only results would. When the machine started, the entire site felt different. The sound alone told the story, deep, heavy, and constant. It wasn't the familiar noise of the old wash plant. This was something far more serious. The belts began to turn. Water flowed. Dirt started feeding in. Every eye was locked on the machine. The first few minutes went smoothly, but then something changed. The sound shifted slightly. Belt speed wavered. Material flow felt uneven. Crew members exchanged quiet looks. No one spoke, but everyone feared overload. This machine could handle huge volumes, but pushing it too far could trigger problems. The dirt grew heavier as clay-rich material entered the system. Vibrations increased. Pressure built on the screens. For a few seconds, it looked like the system was struggling. Time seemed to slow down. Parker raised his hand, signaling for the feed to slow slightly. The machine stabilized, but the tension didn't disappear. The first day was always going to be a learning curve, and Parker knew this was only the beginning. The machine was running, but one question remained unanswered. Could it survive the pressure of an entire season? Or was this first day already a warning sign? Then, without warning, something happened no one expected. The machine began to vibrate oddly. The sound grew heavier, and the belt no longer ran perfectly straight. In that moment, everyone realized just how thin the line was between success and disaster. There's no loud crash or dramatic explosion, but experienced miners know immediately that something isn't right. Even a small calibration or alignment issue can be a warning sign of much bigger damage ahead. The crew reacts instantly. The feed is slowed, and then the call is made to shut the machine down completely. The site drops into total silence. In mining, that silence is terrifying. Every minute the machine sits still means thousands of dollars disappearing. The gold is still in the ground, but time is slipping away fast. A calibration problem means the machine isn't processing material at the right angle or speed. Even being slightly out of alignment can reduce gold recovery or cause parts to wear out quickly. That's why no experienced miner ever ignores signals like this. Safety, efficiency, and the entire season depend on how this moment is handled. What looks like a short pause can quickly turn into a chain reaction. If the issue isn't fixed properly, restarting becomes even riskier. The familiar fear returns to the crew's faces. Is this just a routine adjustment, Or is it a warning of something worse? This is the real leadership test for Parker. Season 16 has become an all-or-nothing run. It's no longer just about mining gold. It's about patience, precision, and nerve. The line between a jackpot and a loss comes down to just a handful of decisions made in a few critical days. Even when the machine is running and gold is being produced, the danger never truly disappears. One of the biggest hidden threats is fuel cost. The new machine burns massive amounts of diesel every day. With fuel prices already high, any slowdown caused by weather or mechanical issues means money is still being spent, even when gold isn't being recovered. Those losses quietly add up. Weather is another constant threat. The Yukon is unpredictable. Sudden rain, freezing temperatures, or unstable ground can shut everything down without warning. No matter how powerful the machine is, it's still at the mercy of the elements. One bad week of weather can undo months of careful planning. Mechanical failure is always looming. Bigger machines come with bigger parts and bigger consequences when something breaks. If a critical component fails and there's no immediate replacement, the operation could be down for days. In mining, losing days often means losing the season. The most dangerous scenario is a single bad day. When fuel is wasted, weather turns against you, and the machine stumbles. That one day can knock the entire season off balance. Parker understands this reality, and it keeps him constantly on edge. The risk in Season 16 hasn't gone away. It's just taken a different form. As the day comes to an end, the machine is still running, but no one feels fully at ease. Gold has been recovered, and the numbers aren't terrible. Still, an uneasy tension hangs over the site. Parker stands back, listening closely to the machine, as if every vibration might reveal a hidden warning. This is the stage of Season 16, where everything appears fine, but that's often when the real danger begins. Preparations start for the next run, and the ground ahead looks even tougher. The dirt is changing color, the clay is heavier, and all signs point to what could be either the richest gold pocket yet or the biggest trap of the season. The crew quietly checks their tools. Conversations are minimal. Everyone knows the next run will be critical. Parker maintains his calm expression, but the pressure is unmistakable. If the next startup goes smoothly, the season could gain unstoppable momentum. But if the machine fails even once more, losses could pile up quickly. Season 16 is balanced on a razor-thin line, and the story doesn't end here. It only becomes more dangerous. If you don't want to miss the next breakdown or the next jackpot, make sure you're following closely. The next moment could change not just the gold totals, but the entire season. Subscribe to the Timefold channel and don't forget to like.